The rain hammered against the
We need to settle
floor-to-ceiling
this
windows
tonight.
of my Manhattan office
There are
like
no more
accusations I couldn't
No more
ignore.
excuses.
Each drop a reminder of the storm I'd buried deep inside me for 8 years. I glanced at the clock 4:55 p.m. and straightened the notepad on my desk, steeling myself for the anonymous new patient whose file promised nothing but a name, Alexander Hale. But when the door opened, and he stepped in, soaked from the downpour, his blue eyes locking onto mine with that same devastating familiarity, my world cracked open like thunder, unleashing the ghost of a love I'd convinced myself was dead. "Matthew," he whispered, voice breaking on the edges of my name, as if saying it aloud might summon the pain we'd both fled. I froze, heart slamming against my ribs. Because there he was, Alex, the man who'd once been my everything, now standing in the space I'd carved out to heal others, his presence a blade twisting through the careful sutures of my composure. In that suspended moment, the air thickened with the weight of unsaid apologies and shattered promises, pulling me back to the boy I'd been at 22, when his touch had felt like salvation in the chaos of a city that devoured dreams. But I was no longer that boy. I was Dr. Matthew Ellis, architect of calm in a world of fractures. And yet here he was, threatening to unravel it all over again. I cleared my throat, forcing the words out with the precision of a scalpel. "Mr. Hale, please, have a seat." My voice held steady, a testament to the years of practice. But inside, a whirlwind raged, questions clawing at the walls I'd built. Why now? After all this time, what fresh hell had fate conjured to test the man I'd become? He sank into the armchair opposite me, water dripping from his coat onto the Persian rug, his broad shoulders slumped under the invisible yoke of legacy. At 30, Alex looked every bit the heir to the Hale pharmaceutical empire, chiseled jaw shadowed by stubble, that effortless charisma that had once drawn crowds like moths to flame. But his eyes, those piercing blues that had haunted my sleepless nights, were dulled now, rimmed with exhaustion that spoke of battles fought in boardrooms and bedrooms far from the scrappy graduate student I'd fallen for. "I didn't know it was you," he said finally, his gaze dropping to his hands, fingers twisting the cuff of his sleeve. The referral was anonymous. "God, Matthew, I need help. I can't keep pretending anymore." Pretending. The word landed like a punch, echoing the lie we'd both lived since the night he'd chosen his family's empire over us. Back then, in the dim glow of our tiny Brooklyn walk-up, he'd whispered promises against my skin, promises of a life unapologetic, of love that defied the cold calculations of wealth and expectation. But dawn had brought reality, his father's ultimatum, the threat of disinheritance, the suffocating weight of a name that demanded perfection, not vulnerability. I nodded, pen hovering over the page, anchoring myself to the ritual. "Tell me what brings you here, Alex." "Start wherever feels right." Professional detachment. My old armor. But it chafed now, ill-fitting against the surge of empathy and resentment that his voice stirred. He leaned forward, elbows on knees, and the floodgates cracked. "It's everything. The company Dad's gone, left me the reins, but I'm drowning in it. The board whispers about my distractions, code for who I am, and the emptiness. It's like a void that swallows me whole. I wake up every morning hating the man in the mirror, because he's not the one you knew." The one you knew. My chest tightened, memories assaulting me unbidden, lazy Sundays tangled in sheets that smelled of coffee and him, debates over Foucault in cramped cafes, the electric thrill of stolen kisses in Central Park under autumn leaves. We'd been fired than two young Americans chasing authenticity in a city that rewarded facades. Matthew Ellis, fresh from a Midwest upbringing where love like ours was whispered sin. And Alex Hale, golden boy of old money, rebelling against the gilded cage of his Park Avenue lineage. But fire consumes, and ours had burned too bright. The night it ended replayed in fragments, his father's office, reeking of scotch and cigar smoke. The ultimatum delivered with surgical cruelty. Choose. Alexander. Us or him. Alex had chosen survival. Or so he'd said, walking away from our shared dreams into the maw of expectation. I'd shattered then, piecing myself back together through grad school. Residency. This office on the Upper West Side where I mended others' breaks. Now, here he was. Not as lover, but patient. The ethical lines blurred in my mind. A therapist's nightmare. I couldn't treat him not with this history, but the plea in his eyes rooted me. Alex. This. Our past complicates things. I have to refer you. No. The word was raw. Desperate. Please. You're the only one who ever saw me. Really saw me. Not the air. Not the facade. If you turn me away, I don't know if I can keep going. Silence stretched, heavy as the rain outside. In that pause, I saw the boy he'd been 17 and terrified, coming out to a family that viewed queerness as a flaw to be fixed. The therapy sessions his parents had forced, the conversion camps disguised as retreats, the isolation that had made our meeting feel like destiny. We'd healed each other once, in stolen moments of truth. Could I do it again? Without losing myself. Against every code, every warning screaming in my head, I set the pen down. One session. To assess. Then we decide. It was a compromise. Fragile as glass. But his nod of gratitude pierced deeper than refusal ever could. As the clock ticked toward 5, he began to unravel the tapestry of his life since we'd parted. The empire he'd inherited wasn't just wealth. It was a labyrinth of secret boardroom betrayals. A mother's quiet alcoholism masked by charity galas. A string of hollow relationships with women who served as shields. I tried to be what they wanted. He confessed. Voice cracking. Marriages of convenience. Whispers in the dark with men who meant nothing. But it's poison. Matthew. It eats at you until there's nothing left. I listened, noting the tremor in his hands, the way his eyes darted to the window as if escape lay in the storm-swept streets below. Empathy warred with caution. This was no ordinary intake. This was excavation, dredging up the fossils of our shared history. And what do you want now? Alex. Beyond the empire. The expectation swats the life you're chasing. He met my gaze then, unflinching. The one we dreamed of. Honest. Whole. With someone who sees the mess and stays. The session ended too soon. The buzzer a mercy. He rose, coat in hand, pausing at the door. Thank you. For not running. And then he was gone, leaving the scent of rain and regret in his wake. That night, in my sparse apartment overlooking the Hudson, sleep evaded me. I paced the hardwood floors, replaying his words, the flicker of hope in his eyes. At 35, I'd built a life of quiet triumphs, patients who'd found their way out of darkness. A practice that sustained me. Friendships that filled the voids. But Alex's return was a seismic shift, reminding me of the parts I'd locked away. The dreamer who'd believed love could conquer legacy. The man who'd grieved not just a lover, but a future. By morning, resolve hardened. I'd refer him properly, maintain the boundaries. But as I unlocked the office door, a manila envelope waited on the mat and signed, heavy with promise. Inside, a single photo, us, 22 and invincible, arms around each other at a pride march. Rain-slicked and laughing. Tucked beneath, a note in his handwriting. I kept this. Do you still have yours? My knees buckled. In the drawer of my desk, buried under files, was its twin. The hook had set deeper than I'd admitted. This wasn't just a patient. This was redemption's call, or ruin's lure. The second session arrived under clearer skies. Sunlight slanting through the blinds like hesitant fingers probing wounds. Alex was early, impeccably dressed, but for the shadows under his eyes. Deeper now. I couldn't sleep, he admitted as he settled in. Kept dreaming of that night in the park, the one where we almost ran. Almost ran. The memory flooded back, post-graduation. Buzzed on cheap wine. Plotting an escape to San Francisco where empires held no sway. We'd mapped it on a napkin, jobs in queer-friendly havens. A life unscripted. But dawn brought his father's call. The pull of duty stronger than whimsy. Tell me about the dreams. I prompted. Voice even, though my pulse betrayed me. He rubbed his temples, exhaling slowly. It's always the same. We're running, hand in hand. But the ground shifts, turns to quicksand made of contracts and expectations. I reach for you, but you slip away, and I wake up gasping, alone in that penthouse that feels like a tomb. Isolation, the great thief of the affluent. I'd seen it in countless patients, but hearing it from him twisted the knife. And in waking life, what anchors you now? Nothing. The admission hung stark. Dad's death was supposed to free him, a heart attack at 68. Too many late nights brokering deals that saved lives but cost his. Now I'm CEO, steering the ship. But it's adrift. The board pushes mergers. Philanthropy masks the rot. And I'm queer in a world that tolerates but doesn't celebrate. Last month, a tabloid hint hail Heir's secret life, and I paid them off. But the fear lingers. Fear. The common thread in every coming out story I'd heard. From Rust Belt teens to Wall Street execs. For Alex, it was amplified by spotlights he'd never sought. How does that fear manifest? I asked, leaning in despite myself. In silence. In compromises. His laugh was bitter. I dated Elena for a year, beautiful. Brilliant. Daughter of a senator. It was perfect on paper. But every gala, every flash, I saw your face in the crowd. Judging me. Not judging. I corrected softly. The words escaping before caution could cage them. Hurting. Our eyes met. A current sparking across the divide. Time bent then. The office fading to that Brooklyn rooftop where we'd first confessed love under stars obscured by city glow. He. Aaron waiting. Me. Scholarship kid with calloused hands from summer jobs. Opposites. Yet mirrors, both chasing acceptance in a nation that preached freedom but whispered caveats for those who loved differently. The buzzer intruded, yanking us back. As he gathered his coat, he paused. Do you ever wonder what if I'd chosen differently? Every day? I thought. But said, that's for us to explore if we continue. The referral loomed. But so did possibility. That evening, I walked the High Line. The elevated park, a ribbon of green amid concrete canyons. Tourists milled, oblivious to the internal tempest raging in me. Ethics demanded distance. Humanity urged bridge building. Alex wasn't just a patient. He was the unfinished chapter of my story. The one where love didn't end in ashes but evolved into wisdom. By our third meeting, patterns emerged like constellations in a therapist's sky. Alex arrived with coffee. 2 cups. Black for me. Just as I liked. A gesture small yet seismic. Breaching the professional veil. Habit. He shrugged. But his smile held apology. We delved deeper that day. Into the architecture of his anxiety. It's layered, he said, sketching invisible diagrams in the air. Bottom level, the camps. 15. Dragged to that retreat in upstate New York, where they prayed the gay away with hymns and horror stories. I came back cured, Or so they thought, buried it under lacrosse trophies and Ivy prep. I nodded, envisioning the boy. American dream twisted into nightmare. And the next layer. Father's shadow. He built Hale Pharma from nothing, immigrant parents. Bootstrap grit, but success demanded conformity. Be the son I never had the luxury to be. He'd say, no room for weakness. Let alone this. He gestured vaguely at himself. The word queer unspoken, but thunderous. Compassion swelled, tempered by memory. I'd been his confessor then, holding him through sobs in dorm rooms that smelled of ramen and rebellion. You carried that alone for so long, I murmured. But you don't have to anymore. His hand twitched toward mine, then retreated. Can I? With you? The question lingered, unanswered, as rain returned, pattering like impatient fingers. Outside, Manhattan pulse taxis honking. Pedestrians huddled under umbrellas, a symphony of lives intersecting. Much like ours. Post-session, I consulted my mentor, Dr. Rivera, over hurried Thai takeout in her Chelsea brownstone. Boundaries. Matthew, she warned, her Puerto Rican accent warm but firm. History clouds judgment. Refer him. I know. I sighed, but the photo burned in my pocket. A talisman against logic. Weeks blurred into rhythm, sessions twice weekly, each peeling back strata of his psyche. We mapped his triggers, holiday galas where toasts masked loneliness, mornings after hookups that left him hollower. Flashbacks wove in, our first date. A dive bar in the village where he'd kissed me amid cheers from drag queens. The world expanding in that moment. One afternoon, breakthrough cracked open. I sabotaged us. He confessed, tears carving paths down his cheeks. Not just for dad, for me. I was scared of failing at love, like I'd fail at everything else. Vulnerability, raw and real, bridged the gap. You didn't fail, I said, voice thick. We both survived. That's the victory. As autumn deepened, leaves carpeting Central Park gold, our dynamic shifted. Laughter crept in, reminiscences of botched cooking attempts. His aversion to my indie playlists. Yet tension simmered. Ethical fault lines quaking. The fourth month brought crisis, a leaked email. Whispers of his orientation rippling through Hale boardrooms. He stormed in, disheveled, fury masking terror. They're circling. Matthew. Like sharks scenting blood. We unpacked it. Hours stretching past schedule. Fight or flight? I asked. Fight. He growled. Resolve igniting. For the first time, I want to claim it all, the company. The truth. Maybe even us. Us. The word hung. Electric. That night. Alone. I pinned my resignation from neutrality, a letter to the ethics board. Disclosing. Seeking guidance. But dawn brought clarity. Healing wasn't linear. It was this. Messy and human. Winter cloaked the city in frost. Mirroring the chill in our sessions turned confessions. Alex spoke of his mother's decline, Alzheimer's, eroding the woman who'd once shielded him with subtle winks at family dinners. She knew. He said softly. Never said it. But her eyes. They forgave. Forgiveness, the elusive grail. I shared fragments of my own, the conservative Kansas roots. Church sermons branding love like ours as abomination. The scholarship that freed me to New York. We both ran toward light. I reflected. And found each other. By spring. Blossoms unfurling along the Hudson. Alex transformed. Board meetings now included quiet advocacy, diversity hires. Pride sponsorships. It's small, he said, but it's mine. Our final session, the word obsolete now unfolded on a bench in Bryant Park. Tulips nodding approval. I release you as patient. I said, heart pounding. but not as. Whatever this becomes. He took my hand. Tentative. Second chances. The kiss was soft. Redemptive, not fire, but steady flame. In that moment, amid joggers and vendors, we reclaimed the dream, two American men, scarred yet whole, building legacy not of wealth, but love. Years later, as CEO of a reimagined Heir Pharma champion of LGBTQ health initiatives, Alex would propose on that same rooftop. Ring simple, vow profound. I'd say yes. Not as broken boys, but men forged in fire's aftermath. For in Manhattan's relentless churn, we'd learned calm isn't absence of storm, but dancing through it, hand in hand. The proposal lingered in afterglow, but life, ever the uninvited guest, tested our fragile peace. 6 months in, a lawsuit hit Heir Pharma, allegations of price gouging on life-saving meds. The kind that had built empires but now fueled outrage. Alex paced my officino. Our shared space now. Boundaries redrawn into partnership, his face a mask of controlled panic. They'll crucify me. Matthew. Everything I've built. Gone. I pulled him down beside me on the couch. Once reserved for patients. Now a sanctuary. Not everything. Not us. My words. Steady. Drew from the well we dug together. Sessions evolved into late-night talks, where his vulnerabilities met my anchors. He exhaled, head on my shoulder. Remember the merger scare last year? I almost bolted again. Back to hiding. I do. The memory stung, his travel bag half-packed. Echoes of our first fracture. But we'd talked it through. No couches or clipboards. Just raw honesty under the hum of city traffic. That night, he'd stayed, choosing us over flight. Now, as lawyers swarmed and headlines blared, hail Heir's reckoning. We faced it united. I attended depositions, not as therapist, but ally, whispering reminders of breath when his voice cracked. Publicly, he leaned into authenticity, press conferences where he addressed the queer undercurrents, vowing reform. My privilege blinded me, he told reporters, voice unwavering. But privilege demands responsibility. The backlash was fierce. Strolls online, board defections, but support surged too. Queer activists praising his candor. Employees sharing stories of hidden lives. In quiet moments, he'd trace my knuckles, murmuring, "You make me brave." Our journey deepened with ripples. I mentored young therapists on ethical gray zones, publishing anonymized essays on love's intersections with healing. Alex funded clinics for LGBTQ youth. Echoes of his buried boyhood. Vacations to Fire Island became ritual beaches where we walked barefoot, hands linked without fear. The ocean washing away residual doubts. Yet shadows persisted. One crisp October eve, 5 years post-reunion, a call shattered our idol, his mother, in hospice, lucid only in fragments. We flew to the Hamptons estate, once a monument to facade, now stripped to essentials. In her sunlit room, overlooking dunes, she clasped his hand. "My boy," she whispered, eyes clearing. "Be free. For both of us." Tears fell, his and mine, as she faded, forgiveness granted in her final breath. At the funeral, amid suited mourners, he spoke. "She taught me love's quiet rebellions." I stood beside him, ring glinting, a silent vow. That loss forged us tighter, prompting talks of family, not blood, but chosen. Adoption seminars, fostering workshops, dreams deferred now pursued. "A kid like I was," he said one night, stargazing from our terrace. Scared, but seen. And so, little Jamie entered our lives, 8. Freckled, with a stutter masking trauma from foster drifts. His first night, curled between us on the couch, watching animated heroes. Alex whispered. Where is calm now? Parenthood amplified everything. School runs amid Manhattan gridlock. PDA meetings where we navigated stairs with linked arms. Challenges arose. Jamie's questions on why two dads met with storybooks and honesty. Alex's empire expanded, but so did his advocacy. Boardrooms echoed with inclusive policies. Through it, our love matured, not the blaze of youth, but enduring coal. Anniversaries marked not just reunion, but growth, therapy for us as couple. Vacations tracing our history from Brooklyn Dives to Napa Vineyards. One dawn, as rain our old harbinger tapped the windows, Alex stirred beside me. You saved me. You know, not once, but every day since. I smiled, pulling him close. We saved each other. That's the real inheritance. In Manhattan's endless reinvention, we'd become the story, two men, once shattered, now whole, proof that calm, once broken, rebuild stronger, laced with grace. Jamie's laughter echoed through our brownstone, a sound that had become the heartbeat of our days, chasing away the ghosts that once haunted these walls. 3 years into fatherhood, I traded solo office hours for family rhythms, early mornings brewing coffee for 3. Evenings where Alex read bedtime tales with theatrical flair, his CEO polish yielding to Dad's tenderness. Yet, beneath the domestic bliss, undercurrents stirred, my practice thrived. But a creeping doubt nagged. Had I lost the edge that made me healer? Softened by love's insulation, it crystallized during a routine check-in with a patient. Nano relation to Alex's past shield, but a sharp paralegal grappling with outness in corporate corridors. Dr. Ellis, you talk of authenticity like it's easy, she challenged, eyes narrowing. But what if vulnerability costs everything? Her words pierced, mirroring Alex's old crossroads. That night, over pasta in our sun-drenched kitchen, I confessed, am I preaching from privilege now? Cushioned by you. By us. Alex set down his fork, blue eyes intent. No, you're living it proof. But if you need the raw again, we'll find it together. His solution, a sabbatical. A road trip tracing America's queer veins. We packed the SUV. Jamie buckled in back with audiobooks and headed west, leaving Manhattan's clamor for open skies. First stop, Stonewall's echo in the village. No, we'd start fresh Chicago, where I'd grown up, confronting the prairies that birthed my hiding. In a Wrigleyville diner, over pie, I shared sepia memories. High school lockers where slurs flew like frisbees. The church youth group where love's stirrings were sin's siren. Jamie listened wide-eyed. Pie forgotten. Did it hurt? Papa Matt. Like fire, I admitted. But fire forges. Alex squeezed my thigh under the table. His own Midwestern roots polished Connecticut, but with Rust Belt echoes from grandparents lending silent solidarity. Onward to San Francisco, the city of our almost escape, Castro's streets alive with rainbows, where we walked hand in hand, Jamie skipping between, pointing at murals of pioneers like us. There, in a Haight-Ashbury bookstore, Alex found a first edition of Whitman Leaves of Grass, dog-eared, for the heir who learned to sing himself. He inscribed, gifting it to me. Nights in fog-shrouded motels. We'd make love slow and sure. Jamie asleep in the adjoining room. The continent's breadth reminding us, love's not confined to boroughs. South to L.A., where Hollywood's gloss hid queer history's Marlene Dietrich's androgyny. Rock Hudson's secrets. We visited the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, laying flowers at subversive graves. Jamie asking, why hide who you love? Because fear's a thief. Alex answered, voice thick. But truth reclaims. The return east was transformative. I dove back into sessions with renewed fire. weaving road tales into therapies. Elena returned months later, out and promoted, hugging me fiercely. You got it from living. Doc. Alex's world shifted too. Heir Pharma launched a queer health fund. Clinics in underserved towns. Drawing fire from conservatives, but acclaim from communities. Protests at annual meetings, picket lines chanting for equity tested him. But with Jamie's crayon signs, dads for fair pills. In tow, he faced them, microphone in hand. My family taught me, healing starts with seeing. Yet, idols fracture. Jamie's school bully, a pint-sized bigot echoing playground relics, unleashed a storm. Bruised cheek, tear-streaked face. He said we're wrong. Not real family. Rage boiled. But Alex knelt. Eye level. Real's what we build. Kiddo. Bullies bark, 'cause they're scared of their own shadows. We enrolled him in art therapy. His drawings evolving from chaos to portraits as three. Capes flowing. Heroes against drab skies. That resilience mirrored our own. The night Alex's uncle contested the will. Dredging old skeletons. We lawyered up. Unyielding. Through it, our bond deepened. Anniversaries marked with rituals, pride floats, where Jamie waved tiny flags. Quiet dinners revisiting that first photo. Faded but cherished. At 40, I marveled at the man beside me, silver threading his temples. Laugh lines etching joy. One equinox eve. As leaves swirled like confetti. Alex proposed expansion, not rings. But roots. Another kid. Or just more of phthisis. Growing. I kissed him. Tasting forever. All of it. In America's vast tapestry. We'd woven our thread, from shattered calm to symphony. Proving love's arc bends toward wholeness. One heartfelt step at a time. The decision to expand our family unfolded like a slow-blooming rose, thorny with bureaucracy. Petal soft with promise. Foster to adopt seminars in Harlem community centers introduced us to Lena. A toddler with curls like midnight and eyes that held storms. Her file bounced between systems. Mother's overdose. Father's ghost. She's a fighter. The caseworker said. Needs anchors. We became those anchors. Home studies probing our brownstone like archaeologists unearthing stability. Alex aced interviews. His boardroom poised, translating to paternal prep classes. I facilitated group shares, turning vulnerability into strength. Jamie, now 11, sketched welcome cards. His stutter smoothed by years of gentle coaxing. Lena's first visit, chaos in sundresses. Her tiny fists clutching a stuffed bear as if it were lifeline. She toddled to Alex, who scooped her up, cooing. Hey, little storm, welcome home. Jamie hovered, offering crayons. And in that circle, our family fractalized for points. Interlocking. Nights blurred into tag team tenderness, her cries piercing 3 a.m. Silence. My rocking her through colic while Alex brewed midnight bottles. Exhaustion etched us. But so did wonder, her first steps toward me. Babbling indeterminate yet ours. Legal hurdles loomed, courts scrutinizing queer parents with microscope precision, but advocacy networks rallied. Amicus briefs from Heir-funded allies. Victory came in a sterile courtroom. Judges gavel sealing fates. Congratulations, Mr. Ellis Hale, she said. And we wept messy. Unscripted, Lena gurgling in Alex's arms. Jamie cheering like he'd won the World Series. Parenting duo amplified our worlds. My practice ballooned with family dynamics cases. Sessions on blended loves. Alex's initiatives expanded to pediatric psych. Clinics where kids like our ghosts found voices. Publicly, we navigated spotlights, New York Times profiles on the Heir and the healer. Paparazzi snapping pride pics, but privately. We carved sacred spaces, park picnics where Lena chased pigeons. Jamie's soccer games with us hollering from bleachers. Challenges sharpened us. Lena's nightmares echoes of loss woke us in tandem. Tag-teaming reassurances till dawn. She's us at their age. Alex murmured one night, her head pillowed on his chest, terrified of abandonment. So we built rituals, storytime circles where we shared Origins meet Kansas plains, his Connecticut coasts, their foster odysseys normalizing mosaic lives. Jamie's teen stirrings emerged too. First crush on a classmate. Boy with braces and bashful grins. Is it weird? Dad's? He asked, cheeks flaming. Only if you let it be. I replied, hugging him fierce. Alex added, love's the least weird thing in this crazy world. Alex's empire faced tempests, a hostile takeover bid from a rival conglomerate. Vultures circling Hale's innovations in queer-inclusive meds. Sleepless strategy sessions in our living room. Lena napping on rugs amid spreadsheets. If we lose it, he fretted. What legacy for them? Yours isn't stock shares. I countered. It's the fight for fair. He prevailed, outmaneuvering with ethics as armor. Emerging not unscathed, but evolved, slimmer margins. Broader impact. You were right. He told me post-victory toast. Kids obet. Legacies love and action. Milestones mounted, Lena's preschool graduation. Her finger paints adorning fridge galleries. Jamie's bar mitzvah's choice. Blending our secular roots with Jewish heritage from Alex's sideware, he vowed tikkun olam. Repairing the world. Eyes on us for approval. Through it. Our coupledom thrived date nights at jazz dives, where his hand and mind drowned out saxophones. Therapy check-ins. Not as patients, but partners. Unpacking parenthood's pressures. At 42, I caught our reflection in a bistro mirror, him. Still devastatingly handsome. Me grayer but grounded. Love's patina gilding us. One harvest moon. Families gathered for Thanksgiving, me sister from Kansas. Tentative bridge over old divides. Alex's cousins. Once wary. Now toasting our unconventional miracle. As kids chased fireflies in the yard. He pulled me aside. We're the calm we sought. I nodded. Tears pricking. In this American expanse. From heartland hurts to skyline salvations. We'd authored redemption not flawless, but fiercely human. Adolescence crashed into our haven like a rogue wave, reshaping sands we'd so carefully molded. Jamie, at 14, traded crayons for earbuds. His once open heart barricaded by hormonal tempests. Leave me alone. Dad's. He'd snap, slamming doors to brood over algebra or crushes unspoken. Lena, 5 now. Navigated with toddler tenacity, potty training triumphs laced with tantrums that tested our zen. Alex bore it with Heir's diplomacy. Negotiating truces over pizza. Talk to us. Bud. We're Team U. I'd observe, marveling at his pivot from tycoon to teen whisperer. Though doubts not had our openness armored or burdened him. The fracture came midwinter. Jamie's backpack yielded a crumpled note, fag family, scrawled by peers. Venom from a viral meme mocking our Times feature. He confronted us tearless. Defiant. It's nothing. School sucks. But nights revealed truth, sobs muffled in pillows. My heart echoing his. We circled wagon school counselor meetings, where principal apologies rang hollow. Alex leveraging Hale connections for anti-bullying grants. No kid should hide. He fumed in bed. My arms his refuge. I facilitated family therapy. Flipping roles now patient under gentle probes. What fears does this stir? Matthew. The therapist asked. Losing him to silence. Like I almost lost you. I admitted. Voice cracking. Alex's hand found mine. Anchor in the gale. Healing unfolded in layers, Jamie's journal. Shared haltingly. Spilled ink on identity's churn. Am I gay like you? Does it make me target? We affirmed without labels. Gifting books like Aristotle and Dante. Discussions under Afghans where questions flowed free. Lena, intuitive sprite. Drew superhero dads battling mean clouds. Her art therapy mirroring ours. Spring brought thaw. Jamie's coming out. Quiet over breakfast, yeah. It's a boy. Noah. Pride swelled. Tempered by vigilance. We chaperoned first dates. Alex grilling with feigned sternness. Me snapping covert pics. Alex's professional seas roiled too. Pandemic whispers on horizon. Supply chains fraying Hale's global reach. Virtual boardrooms from our attic office. Him in suits amid Lego towers. The world's shifting. He confided. Meds delayed. Lives hanging. We pivoted Hale, donating ventilators. Alex testifying in D.C. on equity in crisis. Your calm steadies me. He said post-call. Forehead to mine. Our own crisis brewed subtly, my annual checkup. A shadow on the scam prostate irregularity. Biopsied to benign but rattling. Nothing. Docs assured. But fear lingered. Mortality's whisper. Alex canceled meetings. Bedside vigils with tea and trepidation. If it's more. He vowed. We face it. No solos. Clean bill brought catharsis. A vow renewal in Central Park. Under the oak of our first kiss site. Kids as witnesses. Vows updated through storms and shadows. I choose you. Us, sealed with rings etched shatter and rebuild. Summer camps for the kids' queer youth programs Alex endowed freed us for a secondment. My sabbatical in New Orleans. Guest lecturing on resilience. Alex joined weekends. Jazz clubs where we swayed to brass. His whispers amid horns. This city's like us layered. Loud. Alive. Back home. Jamie's romance bloomed Noah. Sweet and steady double dates at arcades. Laughter healing old scars. Lena's kindergarten tales brimmed wonder. Teacher said families are puzzles. All pieces fit. Autumn harvest yielded fruits. Jamie's essay contest win on unbroken circles. Read at school assembly. Applause thundering. We beamed from back rows. Alex's arm around me. Tears proud. At 45. Surveying our mosaic from shattered air to steadfast home, I realized, calm's not static. It's the courage to embrace the shatter. Piecing beauty from breakage. In America's ever-evolving chorus. Our harmony endured. A testament to love's quiet revolution. Midlife's mirror reflected not decline, but distillation edges softened. Depths plumbed. At 47. My practice evolved to supervision. Mentoring fledglings on the nuances of queer therapy. While Alex, at 42, helmed Hale as elder statesman. Grooming successors for sustainable stewardship. The kids anchored us. Jamie, 17. Navigating AP classes and Noah's college distance pangs. Lena, 8. A whirlwind of violin lessons and voracious reads. A landmark beckoned, the 10th anniversary of our reunion. Marked not with fanfare, but introspection, a weekend in the Berkshires. Cabin rented for reflection. En route. Rain lashed the windshield. Evoking that first storm-swept session. Feels like yesterday. Alex mused. Hand on my knee. In the cabin. I replied. We'll burn the old photos, the painful ones. Ritual for release. The woods enveloped us. Leaves a crimson canopy. Evenings by fireplace. We sifted memories, the envelope's photo. Now framed beside vows. Letters from early days. Ink faded but fervent. You were my mirror, he said. Flames dancing in his eyes. Showed me the man beneath the air. And you. My courage. I countered. To claim the mess. Kids called daily Jamie venting prom drama. Noah's tux clashes with my disaster. Lena reciting poems on wildflowers. Their absence amplified us. Rekindling sparks, hikes where hands linked naturally. Stargazing confessions of dreams deferred, perhaps a book. My words on healing arcs. His nonprofit pivot. Full-time advocacy. Return to city buzz brought grounding. Jamie's graduation. Cap toss amid cheers. His speech nodding us, Dad's taught me, love's the boldest legacy. Tears flowed freely. Alex's grip bruising my arm in joy. Lena's bat mitzvah followed. Her Torah portion on exile, in return mirroring our tales. Synagogue aglow. She chanted with poise. Then quipped. Now cake exile over. Laughter rippled. Our chosen family friends from Pride circuits. My sister now allied circling her. Challenges persisted. Subtle seismic. Alex's knee surgery from old lacrosse ghosts. Rehab sessions where I played coach. His grunts masking frustration. Hate depending. He admitted. Crutches clacking. Dependency's devotion. I teased. Massaging aches. Reciprocity shown in my insomnia flares post-patient heavies. His stories lulling me like lullabies. Global ripples touched home. Rising anti-LGBTQ bills in red states. Hale's clinics targeted. Alex testified remotely. Voice steady. Denial kills dreams, Ivy lived it. Backlash mail piled. But so did thanks from rural teens. There, you gave me words, piercing armor. Jamie's gap year abroad Israel volunteer. Bridging heritage-tested empty nest twinges. Airport farewell. His hug fierce. You built this nest. Dads. I'll fly. But return. Lena filled voids with sass. Tween debates on climate over dinner. Hale, must go green. Papa Alex. He grinned. Plotting solar initiatives. Our intimacy deepened couples retreats in the Catskills, where we unpacked aging's graces, his salt-flecked hair. My laugh lines. Bodies familiar, yet rediscovered. Still shatter me. He whispered post-love. Skin aglow. A legacy project crystallized, co-authoring from fracture to flame. Blending my psych insights with his Heir's Hurdles Memoir meets Manual for Queer Journeys. Publishers clamored. But we paced it. Words wrought in quiet hours. Winter solstice. Kids home. We gathered for storytelling circle of lights. Sharing shatter moments. Jamie's bullying echo. Lena's foster fears. Our original rift. Laughter mingled with tears. Ending in toasts. To rebuilds bolder than breaks. At 50. Gazing at Alex across the trees gleam. I knew, life's not calm conquered. But chaos cherished. In this nation's flawed freedom. We'd scripted endurancy a love letter to all who dare feel fully. The book's launch party hummed in a Soho loft, champagne flutes clinking. Admirers queuing for signatures. Air electric with shared secrets. From fracture to flame had struck chords. Reviews hailing it, a beacon for hidden hearts. Alex. Dapper in velvet blazer. Schmooze donors. I. Bespectacled and beaming. Fielded questions on resilience's roots. Post-fate. In our cab home. He leaned head on my shoulder. We did this, you. Me. Words from wounds. Pride swelled. But so did weariness, tour schedules looming. Speaking gigs from coasts to heartland. Pace yourself. I urged. Knowing his drive. The circuit tested us. Austin keynotes where Q&As turned tearful. Conference echoing our arcs. Seattle panels on intersectional queerness. Alex's pharma lens amplifying access talks. Jamie. Home from abroad. Interned at Hale. His fresh eyes sparking innovations. Lena. 12. Protested climate marches. Her sign, Heirs to Earth, channeling our ethos. A curveball landed spring, my father's passing Kansas call. Hospice quiet. The man who'd once sermonized against my choices. Softened in decline by letters I'd sent. Bridges tentative. Funeral pews creaked with relatives wary. But Alex stood sentinel. Hand in mine. Eulogy mine, he taught duty. I learned love expands it. Graveside. Under flatland skies. Closure settled not absolution, but acceptance. Alex's hug. Kids' flowers, family is south. Summer brought renewal, family cruise to Alaska. Fjords mirroring inner expanses. Whale watches with Lena's awestruck gasps. Kayaks where Jamie and Noah visiting paddled tandem. Evenings on deck. Stars pricking velvet. Alex and I reminisced, from Manhattan maelstrom to this glacier's grinding. But gorgeous. Back. Hale's green pivot bloomed carbon-neutral plants. Lena's influence. Her middle school project. On corporate eco-sins. Won ribbons. Alex beamed at assembly. My mini-activist. Jamie's college apps loomed. Essays on lineage. 2 dads. 1 Air Legacies remix. Acceptances piled NYU. His choice. Keeping him near. Not flying yet. He grinned. Echoing old vows. Intimacy's fires banked low amid bustle. Reignited by intention, monthly, us nights. No phones. Just board games and banter. 1. Over Scrabble. Tiles spelling rebuild. He kissed me slow. Eternal game changer. Global honors followed. Alex's Human Rights Campaign Award. Stage shared with me, my comms co-conspirator. Backstage. Confetti falling. We danced. Kids cheering from wings. Autumn's cusp. A health scare revisited Alex's checkup, flagged arrhythmia. Echoes of his father's fate. Monitors. Meds. My vigil echoing years prior. Irony's cruel. He joked. Wires snaking. Air's heart. Therapist's fix. Clean echoes. But lesson lingered, fragility's gift. Urging presence. We hiked the Appalachian snippet near city. Trails teaching tempo low steps. Steady breaths. Holiday lights twinkled as year waned. Family expanded with Noah's integration Thanksgiving toasts to future son. Lena's crushed confessions. Giggled over Coco, like you and Papa. But with sparkles. At 52. Surveying our tableau book on bestseller lists. Kids launching yet tethered. Love's embers eternal, a pinned journal close. Calm's culmination is an end. But endless becoming. In America's anthem of aspiration. Ours sang truest shattered once. Shining forever. Decades distilled to vignettes. Each a brushstroke in our portrait. Jamie's wedding 25. Noah vows exchanged in a Gramercy garden. Under arches we helped weave. Father of the groom, Judy's doubled, Alex's toast. Rye and warm, from shattering my calm to sharing yours. Matthew. You've been the plot twist of lifetimes. Laughter. Tears. Our dance floors sway drawing whoops. Lena. 20. Stormed campus's activist firebrand. Majoring in environmental policy. Her Hale internship birthing youth boards. Grandpa Alex's empire. Grandma Matt's empathy. She'd quip. Blending us seamless. Our nest half empty. We downsized to a Hudson Valley cottage commutable to city gigs. But breathing room for gardens and guitars. Mornings, coffee on porch. Alex strumming folk tunes. My head on his lap. Birdsong underscoring ease. The book spawned sequels flame forward. Dialogues with queer elders. Speaking tours to Bible Belt bastions. Where skeptics softened to stories. One Memphis night. A burly pastor gripped my hand post-talk. Y'all changed my sermon tomorrow. Alex retired Hale helm at 60. Board yielding to his Pertigia, queer woman of color. Legacy looped. Time for our empire. He declared. Launching joint foundation, Psych Health for marginalized heirs. Literal and figurative. Grandkids arrived Jamie's twins. Rambunctious ripples named Ellis and Hale. Toddling our lawns. Lena's partner. Artist with ink-sleeved arms. Added canvases to walls. Holidays swelled, cacophony of cousins. Recipes remixed me Kansas pie. Alex's Connecticut clam chowder. Health's tide turned gentle, my glasses thicker. His steps slower. But check-ins ritual annual scans. Mutual massages. Humor is balm. Aging's just more time to love you. He'd murmur. Fingers tracing familiar paths. A final storm brewed, national rollback threats. Echoes of early fights. We rallied up PDS. Fundraisers. Grandkids in tiny protest tees. Victory Pyrrhic but pivotal. Laws held. Hope bolstered. Twilight years gifted reflection, memoir updates. Porch philosophies on time's illusion, we thought shatter was end. It was ellipsis. Letters to kids, carry the comet's contagious. One equinoctial dawn. Fog veiling river. Alex stirred. Breath shallow. Matthew. He whispered. Eyes luminous. Best plot ever. I nodded. Throat tight. Holding him as light broke. Hours. Always. In his wake. Grief's gale howled, but so did gratitude. Memorial in Central Park. Under our oak, tributes from empires touched. Families forged. I spoke last. He shattered my calm. Rebuilt it radiant. Love like his. Eternal inheritance. Years on. At 70. I walk those paths. Grandkids chattering. Alex's laugh and wind. Manhattan's Heir taught a psychologist. Life's not about mending fractures, but mosaics made. In America's grand, flawed narrative. Our chapter endures humanity's heart. Beating bold.